This what happened when I think about you. I get in my feelings, yeah. I start reminiscing, yeah. Next time around, I want it to be different, yeah. Waiting on a sign, guess it's time for a different prayer. Lord, please save her for me. Do this one favor for me. I had to change my play of ways, got way too complicated for me. I hope she's waiting for me. Everywhere she go, they playing my songs. That's why I say the things that I say that way. I know you can't ignore me, but yeah. So give me all of you in exchange for me. Just give me all of you in exchange for me. Break it down. Yes, sir. Check. We used to lay up and then stay up, had and then blow. I shouldn't have played no games with you, just leveled up my brain. Last time I saw you, we ain't speak, that was strange. Guess there's nothing I could do, man, it's true. Exes changed, yeah. Hey, guess you changed for the better. I know you know how to make me jealous. I was never loyal, let you tell it, yo. But I'm ready to fix it if you ready, baby. Yeah. So give me all of you in exchange for me. Just give me all of you in exchange for me. For real, shout. Yeah, I know.
What is good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode brought to you by the League FFB. Tonight, we're here for another Friday Q&A, hopefully answering all of your guys' fantasy football questions as we head into Week 5 of the NFL season. Look, this is going to be a week here where we are battling through a lot of attrition. There is a ton of injuries, it feels like, this week. Bye weeks, the first week of the NFL season this year that has buys on the schedule. So lots of stuff to talk about, probably lots of tough start-sit decisions to make here this week for your lineup. So hopefully we can get all those answered for you guys in today's episode. As always, I want to thank all of the people who were in here early, during the countdown, before the show even started, putting questions in the chat. Keaton, Jeff, Kells, Johnny, Raul, everybody who has been here early, always supports the channel. Appreciate you guys. I'm also going to let you guys know too, if you want to support the channel in other ways and you've never played over on Underdog, they are the sponsor of this show, of this channel. We do have a affiliate link with them, a promo code. So right now they are doing a new promo. If you guys have been around for a little bit, you know that it's been play $5, you get $50. Well, they have now upped the bonus funds and the bonus entries here to $100 in the month of October temporarily. So you can get that by using promo code LEAGUEFFB when you sign up and play over on Underdog. Like I said, play $5 and they'll give you $100. And for the month of October, they're doing Boostober, whatever, however you're going to say it. Boostober, I think is what it is. But promos every single day in the app for those people that want to sign up and go over there and play. This is the perfect time to do it because you're getting promos daily in the month of October in celebration of spooky season, man. So with that being said, like I said there, you want to use the promo code LEAGUEFFB. That's the way to do it. But let's answer some questions here tonight. That's what we're here for. So let's just go right into that. And the first question that I have here is going to be from Keaton. Keaton says, "Happy Friday, big dog. DeMercado or Carter? Running back room is in shambles, and I have to play one of them in multiple leagues. Own both of them and can't afford to pick wrong." It's tough. It's a tough decision, I think, to make this week with those guys. Sorry, it's going to be a little bit loud, I think, right there. But it's a tough decision to make with a couple of these guys. I think for me, I'm probably going with Michael Carter. That's like a risk it for the biscuit type of play, but he does profile as the early down guy. If you want to read into the tea leaves, earlier this week he was talking about, you go from the practice squad to the starter, and all of these guys are going to have roles, but I think DeMercado is more of a pass-catching guy, going to be used in 2-minute drills, third down situations. So give me Michael Carter. I just think he has the better role for touchdown potential and maybe some early down work. So We'll see how it goes, man. It's a tough one, but Carter's higher in my rankings. Jeff says Scadaboo or Woody Marks in a full PPR league. This week, I currently have Scadaboo as my running back 15 and Woody Marks is my running back 21. So give me some Cam Scadaboo. I think Kels is playing off the intro song tonight. It says, Lord, please pray for my fantasy football team. And that was Johnny saying Bryson Tiller as an opener equals slamming. Glad you guys like that one. I try and pick some, songs that I'm feeling every time that we stream. I try to make sure it's one of the songs off of my playlist that I'm feeling that day. So I'm glad you guys are feeling it too. But Johnny says, sup, broski. Give Shaheed in a second for DK or shoot for BTJ for Shaheed in a first. Best ball, half point PPR. I would be shooting for BTJ first. He would be the player that I would try and go grab. If it doesn't work out, I'm absolutely okay with you going Shaheed in a second for DK, but I would try BTJ first and then go for DK. Genty or Jordan Mason? This week, Ashton Genty is my running back 10. Jordan Mason is my running back 25 against the Cleveland Browns. Raul says, oh wait, I skipped one. Sorry, Kels. What's your thoughts on Brashard Smith? Definitely think he's worth a stash. Definitely think he needs to be picked up, put on the back end of your bench. I'm not playing him this week, but I do want to see what it looks like with him getting quote-unquote more touches, more opportunities. We'll see what that looks like, but I definitely think he's worth picking up, and he should be on the back end of your rosters. I liked his tape, too. The analytical profile was pretty decent for where he was drafted. I thought he should have went earlier in the NFL draft than he did. All right, Raul, I won't make you wait any longer. He says, Drew the GOAT, sup, brother? Hope all is well. Hope is well with you too, Raul. He says, Herbert at home versus the Commanders or Mayfield at Seattle. I'm going to have to double check my rankings because I want to say these guys are fairly close. I do have Herbert higher in my rankings, though, given a little bit of a bump down for Baker. He has the knee and the bicep injury, probably going to play through it. Seattle's defense is a little bit better than Washington, so give me Herbert, but not by a long shot. I'd still play him, though. Kale says Tony P, J-Mo, Jordan Mason, Troy Franklin, pick. Okay, so for me, it's going to be between J-Mo and Jordan Mason. I think I'm going to lean with Jamison Williams here. They should absolutely torch the Cincinnati Bengals defense this week. Traded Javonte for Bowers. Is that a W trade? Could be, especially if you're in a tight end premium. If you are, then yes, that's great. But I think redraft Javonte versus Bowers, I think it's fine. I like it, especially if you have running back help. Jordan Addison, Calvin Ridley, Troy Franklin, pick one. It's going to be Jordan Addison for me. Death Reaper says, start 3 in a PPR league. Chase Brown, Woody, Rico Amari, Josh Downs. Rachaad White is on the waivers, but your priority is number 9. Yeah, you're not going to get him at number 9, but White should be, would probably be one of the higher plays here. I think if I have to make the decisions here, I'm playing Rico. I think I'm playing Rico, Woody, and Chase Brown. I think those are going to be the 3 that I play. I can't decide between Fannin or Schultz at tight end. Not a fan of either, but do you have a preference for this week? I agree. I'm not really a fan of either, but if I do have to play one, I do think I have Fannin just a little bit higher. I have him a few spots higher, but it's not by a lot. For reference, the points per game that I have projected is about 8 points for Harold Fannin and about 7.5 points for Schultz. So even though they're like 4 spots apart, the point difference isn't that big. Detroit defense or Seattle defense this week. It's going to be tough to sit that Detroit defense with how Jake Browning has played. I'm probably playing them and going with the Detroit Lions. Jeff says Detroit or Vikings defense. I would still go Detroit. They're my number 1 defense on the week. Vikings are my number 2 defense, though. Keenan Allen or Jamison Williams in the flex. What do I have this one as? I want to say Keenan Allen's higher. He is. I have Keenan Allen a little bit higher. Suh, dude. Thinking about buying Harvey. Is he worth a first-round pick or is 2 seconds good? 2 seconds is better. He's probably worth a first-round pick still, but I don't know if I want to pay that at the moment. But Yeah, I'd try it for the 2 seconds. I'd be comfortable with 2 seconds. The first, I'm iffy on it. Walker or Alvin Kamara. Currently in my rankings, I have Alvin Kamara as my running back 12, and I have Kenneth Walker as my running back 16. What's up, Logan? My day's doing good. It's been a pretty productive day for the most part. Been shooting some podcast episodes, hanging out. It's my wife's birthday. We went out and got some dinner and stuff like that. So, been a good day. And he says start one, Henderson, Shakir, or Marks. I'm going to start Marks. Marks is going to be my play. Just traded Garrett Wilson for McBride in a half-point tight end premium dynasty. What are your thoughts? I would prefer Trey McBride to Garrett Wilson in a tight end premium. Not by a lot, because a half-point premium isn't that much, but I would still prefer it. What are your biggest buys as a contender in dynasty? I don't know if I can give you a whole list of guys at the moment, but my number one buy for contenders right now in dynasty is Josh Jacobs. Love Josh Jacobs as a buy. You can buy him probably a little bit discounted this week because he is on a bye week, and his schedule is incredible the rest of the way. I think he's going to have a massive workload. He's on one of the best offenses. Absolutely love buying Josh Jacobs as a contender at the moment. I think he's going to probably produce as a high-end RB1 for a good chunk of the second half of the year. That would be my guess. Moving forward. So he's a buy that I'd be willing to pay a late first plus maybe a late, a second on top. So 1 and 2. If I'm a contender, I'd be willing, to shore up my running back spot, giving a late 1 and a 2. I lost Connor and now I recently lost Bucky. I have Marks in bench. I have JCM and Tootin. Waiver has Dowdle and Michael Carter and Justice Hill. Should I drop one of them for a waiver pickup? Probably. I would drop Tootin for either Dowdle or Carter. If you're just looking for somebody to plug in and play this week, which you might be with Bucky out, I do have Dowdle higher in my rankings than Michael Carter. So you could play either of them, but I think I'd prioritize I might prioritize Carter because you might get a longer period with Connor out. But either one's fine. I'm not looking at Justice Hill, though. Jeff says, what do you recommend that I do with Scary Terry? He's a hold at the moment, honestly. We talked about him on the Dynasty Nerds podcast the other night. Kind of like, is this a player that is washed? Or, is there still something to like here? And I said he wasn't a player that I thought was washed yet. I think he's had a bad start to the year. It's funny how that kind of happens when you hold out and you get the money, you don't play in the offseason and all that stuff. It kind of like lingers and comes back to bite you in the ass because you're missing time. I think that's what we're with. The Commanders have been without Jaden Daniels to start of the year. He's been banged up. Like I said, Terry's been banged up. You're holding, but once he starts giving you a couple bigger games, because they will come down the line for Terry McLaurin, then we can kind of start looking at potentially selling off of Terry McLaurin once people start seeing him score points back in the lineup. But for now, you're holding. Raul says full PPR league. Still doesn't change my opinion on who I would grab there, though. Keon Coleman or DeMercado PPR. That's a tough one. DeMercado is my running back 29 on the week. And Keon Coleman is my wide receiver 33. I think I'm going to go Coleman over DeMercado. I'm loving a Vikes fan choosing Detroit over everybody. Look, sometimes you got to play the matchups, Johnny. Put the fandom aside when you're trying to make some lineup decisions every once in a while. Adrian says, was offered Pickens, Kyron Hunter. Is that Hunter Henry? I think that's Hunter Henry. Hopefully. Maybe it's Travis Hunter. Was offered Pickens, Kyron, and Hunter Henry for CMC, Kelsey, Franklin. Squad is JCM. If it's Pickens, Kyron, and Hunter Henry for CMC, Kelsey, and Franklin, I think I'd take it. If it's Travis Hunter, it's a little bit closer. I might Actually, I said that the other way. I'm so sorry. If it's Travis Hunter, I might take the Pickens and Kyron side. But if it's Hunter Henry, I would take the CMC side. It's hard for me to really want to lose CMC, though. Unless it's a dynasty, then I understand. Hopefully, I feel like I didn't answer that one really well because the H Hunter kind of threw me off. But maybe give me some clarity down there in the chat, Adrian. Quentin says, yo, my team is Puka, JSN, was Tyreek, now it's Godwin, Derrick Henry, Pollard, Scat, and I'm going to trade Puka for CD and Hampton. Is that an L or nah? No, that's not an L. That's fine. If you need the help, I'm okay down tiering Puka to CD and getting Amarion Hampton. I have a flex spot for either Waddle, Harrison Jr., or Pittman Jr. Who would you roll with? That's a pretty interesting question because I have Michael Pittman as my wide receiver 12 this week. I have Jalen Waddle as my wide receiver 13, and Marvin Harrison is my wide receiver 23. So I'm between Michael Pittman and Jalen Waddle. I think I need to adjust my rankings, and I think I'm going to swap Pittman over Waddle because of the hamstring injury that he's dealing with. So give me Jalen Waddle. Do I start Alec Iamaner or Michael Carter this week? Also, if you pick Michael Carter, does Calvin Ridley sitting this week change your answer? If Calvin sits this week, it might affect it a little bit, but I think I still play Michael Carter no matter what. Traded Javonte Williams for London. My running backs are Saquon, Genty, Marks, Henderson, Pacheco, Blue. And then I think he says wide receivers are London, Rome, Ladd, Worthy, Slayton, Burton, Mims. Tight ends and QBs are May, Dart, Kittle, Kelsey. Yeah, I mean, I like trading Javonte for London. I like that. Your running backs seem fine. Jess says, how do you feel about getting players you don't need off of waivers, but so your league mates who need them don't get them? It's a dirty game you're playing there, Jeff, but I think it's valid. I had this done against me in one of my leagues this week. I made a trade in my home redraft league where I traded Kyler Murray and Malik Washington. It was Kyler Murray and Malik Washington? Kyler Murray, Romo Dunze, and Malik Washington. I traded them away, and I got Jordan Love, Trevion Henderson, and Marvin Harrison Jr. So I kind of down-tiered my QB to upgrade a running back. I needed running back depth bad. But then it left me without a QB this week because Jordan Love is on bye. So I was looking at, trying to get a guy to pick up from my super flex spot. It was guys like Mac Jones available. Carson Wentz was available. People picked up the quarterbacks. I didn't get a quarterback. And now, tonight, somebody dropped Cooper Rush and somebody dropped Cam Ward. So I could pick them up if I want them. But yeah, somebody played the game against me. I don't think it's a bad move. If you need to do it, you need to do it. That was a long way to do that. But hopefully you appreciate the story of my home leagues every once in a while. What's up? Appreciate your content. What's your thoughts on Kraft and Love as QB tight end combo? Just traded them. Gave Kyler plus Chase Brown plus Waller. They are 1-3 with injuries. Lamar. What's the Lamar? With injuries, Lamar. I like it. It's funny you said that because I just talked about that league where I traded Kyler Murray and I got Jordan Love. So I like this. I like Love and Kraft as the 1-2 punch at your QB and tight end position. I like the stack. Would you start Woody Marks over Worthy, Egbuka, or neither? Would not play him over Egbuka. But I would play him. I think I'd play him over Worthy potentially. Yeah, I'm probably going to play him over Worthy still. But definitely not Egbuka. Egbuka's a top 5 play for me this week at the wide receiver position. Where are we with JJ McCarthy? I don't feel like anything has changed for me, really, as far as thoughts. I mean, obviously, we haven't seen him on the football field since, week 2. Sounds like he's getting closer after the bye, potentially, because next week is our bye week, and then week 7 sounds like he might be able to be ready. So, we'll see. But I just bought him in another Dynasty League. I bought him pretty cheap in my opinion. So I'm scooping the dip. If there's a dip, people are starting to, you know, give up on McCarthy after 2 games. I'm scooping some of that dip. What the Bing says, Carter or DeMercado? And would you play the other one or Io Manor in the flex? I would play Carter and Io Manor. Those would be the 2 guys that I play. So for the second running back position, would you start JCM versus the Chargers or Dowdle versus Miami? I would rather play Dowdle versus Miami. Romo Dunze for Ashton Genty in a PPR. This is probably a fair deal. I prefer Rome to Genty. Why did they decide to start passing to Kyron Williams last night? I just traded for Hampton. Still happy with the trade, but could have got better value with patience. Game script a little bit. They were down early. They had to start passing the football. They haven't been a team that's been down early on so far to start the year, but they got down early to that Mac Jones-led team. So game script, things are going to happen like that every once in a while. It sucks when you trade away a guy and then he goes out and has a big game like that. Insidious says, Goat Talk. Appreciate you, man. Mosley says, I sent that Hampton Barkley trade earlier in Discord. Would like to hear more on why you wouldn't pivot off Saquon to Hampton just yet as a contender. I think for me, the reason why I wouldn't do it in your scenario is you had the Kittle part of the deal in there as well. And as a contender, having Kittle and Saquon is definitely something that I would like to do. If you could find a way to formulate the trade by keeping Kittle and making the Hampton Barkley thing as the main event of the trade and keep Kittle, I don't mind that at all, because I do like the idea of going off of Barkley to get to Hampton in Dynasty. Even if you're a contender, it's just the Kittle side of the deal that I didn't love. Appreciate you, Walter. He says, what's your Houston, Love, and Kraft, or I think we answered that one, actually. I think we did. Appreciate it. And I do like the duo. Andrew, do you know Jacorian Moore at Oregon? I haven't really watched too much tape on him, so I can't really give you any strong opinions on him at the moment. But we're slowly going through the tape already. We got a long time till NFL draft season, but I'm going through the tape slowly. Really like Dante Moore over there as a quarterback. That's not who you're referencing, is it? Pick 2 out of the 4 for this week. PPR, Pacheco, Downs, Ramondre, Carter. Give me Carter and Downs. Carter and Downs. How many games does Wentz start while JJ McCarthy is healthy? Over under 5 games. I'd put the over under 1 game while he's healthy. I don't think I just don't think McCarthy is healthy and is sitting on the bench. I don't believe it happens. Michael says, Woody Marks over K9 in my flex this week. I'm not there, I don't think. I currently have K9 as QB 16. Woody Marks is running back 16. Woody Marks is running back 21. So I'm not there yet. I would still play K9. Dynasty, a 12-team PPR super flex, tight end premium, start 11. Chuba and Buck is out, and I need a super flex. My choice is either Henry or T-Law. Thoughts? Derrick Henry or Hunter Henry? Because if it's Derrick Henry, you definitely got to play Derrick Henry. If it's Hunter Henry, I would play T-Law. Tricks, how's it going, man? Appreciate you being here. Says, needs a flex between Woody, Rashad White, Troy Franklin, or Carter. I'd probably be playing Woody. But it's between him and White. I think I'm going Woody over White. Tell War his quarterback is awful. DJ Moore deserves better. He's feeding Rome right now, and I've been all on the year 2 Rome breakout all off season, so I can't complain too much if he keeps feeding Rome. Dixon says, I got a few. I'm about to fire them off. Shakir or Chase Brown in a PPR. Give me Khalil Shakir. Chase Brown or David Montgomery in a PPR. Give me D-Mont. And then Mosley says, traded Luther Burden for Kincaid in 2/3. Wide receivers are Rome, CD, Marv, Puka, Tet. Had Kittle go down. Is that a W or an L? I think it's fair value. Kincaid in 2/3 is fine. I think Burden is the player with the most upside, maybe, but you had Rome. So, yeah, I think this is a fine trade for you, and I agree with you, having to go out and do that if you have the Kittle injury. Hunter Henry. Yeah, I mean, so you're going T-Law over Hunter Henry. Frizzle says, yo, what up, man? Also says Chase Brown or Trevion this week. I have Chase Brown lower. Do I have him lower? No, I don't. I have Chase Brown 3 spots higher than Trevion Henderson, so I'm still going with Chase Brown. Mason Taylor or Brenton Strange. I would go with Brenton Strange. And then says Trevor Etienne or Hollywood Brown. It's rough out here, half PPR. Hollywood Brown is my play there. I couldn't get myself to start Trevor Etienne right now. I don't know what his role is going to look like. Malik Washington, Jalen Tolbert, or Hawkinson this week in a PPR. I would play Malik Washington. I like him potentially in a full PPR, especially if this is non-tight end premium. If it's tight end premium, go Hawkinson. But if it's not a tight end premium, just go Malik Washington. Currently starting J-Mo and Keon Coleman, but should I start Slayton or Malik Washington over one of them? I would not start over J-Mo. J-Mo would be the highest guy in my rankings. I can't remember where Slayton is in my rankings. I have Slayton below Washington and Coleman, so I would play J-Mo and Coleman. That's probably still what I would do. I heard people saying Tucker might steal carries from White, but Nick is taking touches from Woody. I don't think either of them needs to be super worried. I'm less worried about Nick Chubb taking touches from Woody than I am Tucker taking them from White. But I think White should be a fine play. I think Woody's a fine play. Insidious with the super chat. Appreciate you, man. He says, breaking my heart. He's a 5-star freshman with my biggest flex is I sit next to him in our writing class. Okay, all right. I like that. Makes sense why I haven't started scouting him yet, though, because if he's a freshman, we're talking, what is that, 2029 draft class, 2028 draft class? Something like that. Makes sense why I haven't started scouting him yet, but that's dope that you're sitting next to him. Funny, for the people at home, I went to school with Rashid Shaheed, so ended up sitting next to some of the football players, the quarterback at Weber State, in one of my classes as well. But Rashid Shaheed and Teron Johnson, if you know the cornerback, he plays DB for the Bills. I went to school with both of those guys. Happy Friday, Brava, Hunter Henry, or Hawkinson this week in a 1-point tight end premium. So let's look at that one. I want to say it's Hunter Henry, though. Yep, I have Hunter Henry higher. And then Diggs in the flex feels so gross starting 2 Pats. Oh, that's where your question comes. Yeah, it would feel gross playing 2, but I think I'm still going Henry and Diggs. Logan says, why do they hate Henderson over there in New England? I think it's just taking time. It's sometimes it takes time, man. I remember the first month of the NFL season when Jahmyr Gibbs was a rookie. I drafted Jahmyr Gibbs everywhere, and I was like, why the hell are they not playing Jahmyr Gibbs? It happened eventually. Sometimes it just takes a little while. Do you think Rashee Rice picks up where he left off, or does he hit the wall? I think he picks up where he left off. I think he's going to be pretty solid for fantasy, and I almost expect the first week that he's back in the lineup, I'm probably ranking him as like a top 15 wide receiver on the week, almost immediately. Travis Hunter versus the Chiefs or Kirk versus the Ravens? Yikes. Christian Kirk, probably. Super chat from Raul. Appreciate you. Says, thank you for all the help. I appreciate all that you do. Have a great weekend, bro. Let's get these W's. Damn straight, Raul. Appreciate you for always supporting. Means a lot. And yes, let's go get these W's, man. I need to get one. I'm going to be praying to the fantasy gods this weekend in my home league because my lineup's a little suspect after buying a couple bye weeks. But I'd rather buy these early buys in the trade room so the rest of the year I don't have to worry about bye weeks. Johnny, weekly question. Where do you have JMO ranked and why is it so low? Who is directly above and below? You love this question. And I'm going to tell you right now, I think this week I have him higher than I've had him in previous weeks because of the matchup. I have him as my wide receiver 24. I have him right one below Marvin Harrison, one above Brian Thomas Jr. He's in a tier with Olave, Zay Flowers, Marvin, and Brian Thomas Jr. But also, I will say, Johnny, it sounds low based on the matchup. I think you guys just run the ball in the second half. Like, I think you're going to spank the Bengals. Pick one to start. Addison, Woody, Wan'Dale Robinson. I would go with Woody here in a full PPR. City says that's fire. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And where I grew up in high school, we had a lot of football players around where I went to high school. Ramondre Stevenson went to the high school next door, like just down the road from where I was at, one of the rivals. Dixon says, my sister went to school with Derrick Henry. She said he was so big he needed a different desk because he couldn't fit. That's insane. Yeah, that's cooler than Rashid Shaheed. Prob says Malik Washington or Mason Taylor in a PPR 1 point tight end premium. Ooh, a full point tight end premium. Give me Mason Taylor. Andrew, I traded away Woody Marks plus a 2027 fourth, and I acquired a 26 second and a 27 third. Did I fleece him? He needed depth at running back in an 8-team league. I probably would have. 8-team league, this feels better because your first is going to be like, I mean, the first 4 picks of the second round are going to be like a first round in a normal league. But I still see this and think you should have got a little bit more, honestly. So no, I don't think you fleeced. I think you should have got more. Rico expected 14 points. We'd have taken him over Kelsey in the flex, yeah? I probably would. Michael Carter versus Tennessee or Iomana versus the Cardinals, full PPR. Give me Michael Carter. Thoughts on this trade? I traded away Dobbs in a 2028 second, and I got T. Higgins in a 2026 third. I'm 3-1. The other guy's 0-4. This is a Dynasty Superflex. You robbed him. You robbed him. I love that for you long term. What are you thinking about Malik's dynasty value? Would you swap BTJ for him straight up? I would give Brian Thomas Jr. away to get Malik Neighbors. Absolutely. His dynasty value for me doesn't change that much. I just did my dynasty rankings, or just updated my wide receiver rankings the other day. He's still like a top 4 dynasty wide receiver for me. So it's not changing a lot for me. If anybody is, selling him for a 10% discount, a 20% discount, I will absolutely buy those, especially in dynasty leagues where I'm playing for the future still. Maybe I'm retooling, maybe I'm rebuilding. I'm willing to hold through the injury and maybe a little bit of next year where he's still recovering from the injury to just have that type of a talented young player on my roster. Spoiler alert, there's a couple Malik Neighbors trades on this week's trade show that we are recording tomorrow that we'll talk about a little bit more of Malik Neighbors and his value. We already saw that one. Logan says Dalton Schultz or Michael Carter in a half-point tight end premium. Give me Michael Carter. You traded 2 2020, or are you trading 2 27 first for Neighbors in a rebuild? Probably, unless I think that those 27 first are going to be early. If they have a good shot at being early, I think I'd rather take the dice roll of being in on the Jeremiah Smith sweepstakes and grabbing a young QB in that class as well. But if they're mid to late, especially late, just give me Neighbors. I just pulled that one up. Johnny says, I completely agree, replying to the JMO. He says, also, you're spot on, including the game take. I like it. I'm glad we can agree here, Johnny. I feel like sometimes we disagree a lot on the JMO stuff, but I'm glad today we at least agree. No problem, Frankie. And then Trick says, Rico and White projected 20 points in my league, and they must know something I don't. Are are you getting points per carry, points per first down? Would be interesting to see that because I have Rico, and I think I'm going to play Rico over Chase Brown this week in one of my leagues. Dustin says, what's up, man? Pick 2 for the flex. Pittman, Dobbins, Woody, Carter, DeMercado. Thanks. That sounded crazy how that came out so fast and smooth. Pittman, Dobbins, Woody. I can't even do it again. I would go Pittman, and I would go Woody as the 2 players that I'm playing. All right, we should be caught up here. Actually, Insidious, you snuck it in. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but earlier in the year, Oregon had a touchdown where a wide receiver pancaked a DB in the end zone, and that was more. I think I do know what you're talking about. I think I saw the highlight. I couldn't tell you what it was, but makes sense. Rashad White, Rico, or AJ Brown in a PPR. God damn, this is where we're at. I'm playing AJ Brown over those guys. How you feeling about back-to-back 9:30 a.m. games for the Skull? It is what it is. It sounded cooler on the schedule when they first announced it as like the Vikings are going to be the first team to do back-to-back international games. And now I'm like, our team is so hurt. I would prefer not to do back-to-back weeks in 2 different countries. But hey, what can you do? Next week's the bye. Hopefully the guys get home, rest. We can get a little bit healthier. But as a fan, I don't love the international morning games. It makes the days feel really long with football. It's like by the time that Sunday night football gets around, I'm like, God damn, I've been watching football for so long. And I think there is too many. I think there's such thing. Maybe it's an unpopular take to you guys. Maybe you guys agree with me in the chat. Let me know. But I think there is such a thing as too much football on one day. Four windows of games is too much in my opinion. 3, I'm good with that. 4, I don't want that. But we'll be up bright and early doing the start sit stream. Start 1 running back, 1 flex, and a full PPR. Rashad White, Charbonnet, Harvey, Sutton, Chase Brown. Must win week. DJ already got Pugad. The running back and the flex, I'm going with White and Sutton. Rashad White and Sutton. Ertz with Daniels back or Kelsey? I think Ertz, especially with McLaurin out. Yes, we are here with AJ Brown. Yeah, it sucks, man. It sucks. Travion or Godwin this week in a PPR? Excuse me. I would go with Travion. BTJ or Judkins rest of season? Whew. I just feel like BTJ is going to get it back together, but if I have to pick today, I'm going with Judkins rest of season. But I think BTJ can bounce back. Yeah, I always need a break after the midday games. It's tough, man, because like I'm waking up at like 7:30 on those days on the East Coast to prep for the morning stream and do stuff like that. Make sure my lineups are set before I go live streaming before the games and things like that. Checking injury reports. And then it's like I'm up by 7:30 getting this thing going, and then the Sunday night football game is over at midnight, and there's really no breaks in between. So it's like, for me, I'm in football brain mode from the moment that I'm waking up at 7:30 all the way to midnight. It's a little bit too much sometimes, man. It's a little bit too much on those days. Cam says full PPR, start 2 wide receivers and 2 flex. AJ, Debo, Pittman, Olave, Brees, Chase, and Harrison. I would be playing Pittman, Brees, AJ, and Debo, I think would be the other ones. All right, much love, Andrew. I got to go watch Oregon volleyball whoop Iowa. Go have fun, man. Have fun. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate you stopping by. You to go. Noah says, Bryce Young or Sam Darnold this week. Lamar is out for me. I would go Sam Darnold over Bryce Young. In my rankings, I have Sam Darnold as my QB 13 on the week. Bryce Young is my QB 19. All right, folks, we are caught up a little bit. For the folks that weren't here at the beginning, I'm going to show you again. Right now, if you guys wanted to go support our show over on Underdog, if you're a new customer, you've never played over there, we have a promo code. It's code LEAGUEFFB. You see it right there with the little arrow. If you sign up over there and you play for the first time, put $5 down, play with that $5. They will give you $100 in bonus funds right now just for using our promo code. So you're going to get $105 to play with just by depositing $5. So it's a lot of free money for you to go over there and play if you've never done it. This month is the perfect month for you to do it as well because it's Boostober for them. It's promos every single day, all of October. So if there's not something today you like, there will be something the next day and the next day and the next day, all month long. Lots of cool ways for you to go over there, play, have some chances to win some money and multiply your money and do all that good stuff. And like I said, if you use our promo code, they're going to give you $100. So it's just free money that you get to play with if you want to support the show. And it really does help us a lot because our affiliate link, it does help us with, some financial support over here on our channel. But if you don't want to do that, if you don't want to, you don't have the extra $5, that is all good. The best way to do that free to support our show freely is to hit the like button. So if you haven't done that already, go do that. It's the best way to support this channel for the free, and I'd appreciate you guys doing that for me. Cam says, I agree that 4 is a bit much. It is, man. It's like when you go from, and then you're going to give me an international game, and then the next night you're going to give me a double header on Monday Night Football. Like, come on, brother. What are we doing? And I have to watch some shitty teams on the Monday Night Football double header. Come on, bro. I don't want to watch the Bengals. You get what I'm saying? There is such thing as too much football, and sometimes I need to touch grass. Mosley says, currently working on that Hampton and Barkley trade, trying to get Fields and Jalen Warren in the deal as well. I have Kerryon Johnson. I have Caleb Johnson on my bench right now. God damn it. If y'all know Kerryon, y'all know Kerryon. But god damn, I can't believe I almost pulled that. That was from the depths of my soul, I think, that I just ripped that name out of. Damn, that threw me off. Hampton and Barkley trade. Yeah, I like you trying to, finesse it the other way, but goddamn Kerryon Johnson, bro. Whatever. Here you go. If I get Jalen Warren, would you flip him plus a 2027 third for Javonte? I would. Do I trade Downs for Warren? Should I send more? Tyler Warren, Jalen Warren. I mean, if it's Tyler Warren, you absolutely should have to send more. Bourne waiver pickup was clutch, but Rams defense effed me over. Damn. It's like the damned if you do, damned if you don't type of thing. Appreciate you, G. Guy in my league had Lamar and Purdy. We could only pick up Gabriel, so I traded Goff, Stroud, Bond, and a third for Lamar. I have Hurts and Dart still. I like it. Did anybody catch my Kerryon Johnson? Damn, dude. Is the chat that far behind? I don't think we're that far behind. Do y'all know who Kerryon Johnson is? My buddy, my college roommate, one of my best friends ever, had a Kerryon Johnson hat made. We went to Lids, and he had them stitch and embroider Kerryon Johnson's name on his hat. And we went to our home redraft league one year, and he took Kerryon Johnson in the second round. I think it was his second round pick, right at the turn, a top 15 pick in our redraft league. And he pulled the hat out, and he played that song, Carry On My Wayward Son. It was like a fantasy footballer's drop, but he pulled it out and put the Kerryon Johnson hat on. So Kerryon Johnson runs deep in the veins over here at the League FFB. It's like a historical moment for us. It was pretty funny. But if you watch the Ballers, you know too. What are we at? Six Ring says, what is the coolest memorabilia that you got back there? I mean, the coolest piece of memorabilia I got is this Justin Jefferson jersey, because that's signed. So Jefferson's signature is on there. I got this one, which is a Dalvin Cook signed jersey that's framed. I have an Eric Kendricks jersey that's signed over here that nobody ever gets to see. And then back here, I think I got it's a Irv Smith Jr. helmet that's signed. I need to get that replaced because I was an Irv believer at one point in time, but I ain't an Irv believer no more. But we need to get that replaced, maybe a Hawkinson helmet or maybe something cool. But I need something J.J. McCarthy in here too. But I think the coolest one has to be the Justin Jefferson signed jersey. That's the coolest one for sure. Rob says first world problems. We're sitting here complaining about football schedules. Yeah, for sure. How do we feel about Chase Brown? Thought he kind of improved last week. The offense needs to get better, man. Like I've been trying to preach, like the volume is there. The volume is there. I'm giving up hope. I don't think he's going to have a lot of touchdown potential. He needs to get a little bit more involved in the receiving game too. It's tough, man. Would it be crazy to start Justice Hill over JCM? I don't think I would be doing it. How's it going today? Hope you and your family are healthy. Appreciate that, Jack. I think everybody's good over here, so appreciate the same. Or I appreciate it, and I hope the same for you. He said, would you start Godwin or Jacoby Myers? What picks would you trade for Ladd right now? I would start Jacoby over Godwin, and then what picks would I trade for Ladd? I think you could probably convince somebody to sell him for a first, and I would definitely sell a first to go get Ladd still. I'd move any of my 26 first. As long as it's not like a top 3, top 5 pick, I'd move any of those first for Ladd. We got the laughing. Tyler. Would Woody and Travion for Tet be too much? No, I would rather have Tet. All right, yeah, we got some carry on here. Carry on love from John. Mostly says generational bust Johnson. Former Lions great carry on. The hype was crazy. Logan says I was a huge carry on Johnson believer back in the day. The ballers always used to drop that soundboard. Yeah, man, we were big ballers, guys. Like, this is before I ever started making content. We would consume, like, if I consumed content, it was the fantasy footballers. And so that was just like something, our early college days, we were like in class listening to the fantasy footballers in our headphones, and then we'd like debrief in the lunchroom afterwards. Like, we'd go to the student union and grab lunch, and we'd be like, so the ballers said this, and we were thinking about this. Crazy to think that, like, way back in the day, that if I could have told you that where I would be doing this now for my job, like, it's just crazy how the world works, man. But blessed regardless. Rob says, thoughts on this trade? Ayuk in a 26 first for a 27 fourth, Strange and Rattler. 2 guys did that in my 8-team Dynasty League. Yeah, I mean, I would take the Ayuk in the first side pretty easily there. He's only 28 too. I know. I think he was like recently on the Eagles or something as like a 3rd string or a 4th string back for the Eagles. What's good, bro? What did you do for work before this was your full-time job? I was in sales. I did some pretty high-ticket item sales where I would travel across the country, and I would go to trade shows, and I would do like remote sales and stuff like that over the phone. Virtual presentations a lot of the time. But I was like working all over the country. Sometimes I'd be in Atlanta. Sometimes I'd be in Houston. Sometimes I'd be wherever. But I was doing sales before this, and it was really fun. I love the competitiveness of sales, and it kind of fits with my personality really well, where I'm pretty, it's pretty easy to get me going and riled up and driven when you see like a numeric value next to your name on like a sales leaderboard. Like, I could see my name if I was number 1 in sales. I could see how many things that I've sold. I could see the amount of revenue I brought in. Like, that for me gets me going. And so it brought the best out of me in environments like that. So I really did enjoy it. There was a lot of money to be made in it as well, but I'd give it up every day of the week just to keep doing this for sure. But that's what I did before, was basically like high ticket value item sales in SaaS. It was like selling software as a service. Prob says it feels like ages ago. I know it does feel like a long time ago, but it still feels like so recent. But I get what you're saying. Dustin says rough week for wide receiver. Lamb's out. Pick two pick two in a half PPR league. I almost said pick 2.5 of these guys. Sutton, BTJ, Godwin, or Slayton. If I'm picking two, it's Brian Thomas and it's Sutton. Those are the two that I'm playing. Would you trade Sutton or BTJ for Rice, currently 4-0? I would absolutely send Brian Thomas Jr. a million times over for Rashee Rice. I would love to do that. A-Rod says, also, I don't know if the trades I submitted are going to make the video for tomorrow, but I'm scared for what y'all are going to say if they do make it on LMAO. I made some risky joints. I don't know if yours did either. I can't remember. I'll be honest, like, I try and not look at the names a little bit because I don't want to be biased. I don't want to pick people whose names that I see. I just try and look at the screenshots, and like if I think the trade is interesting or there's a good talking point to make about the trade, then I will pull it. So it's never like trying to pick names of people that I know. It's always trying to pick trades with good talking points. So maybe we did grab yours, maybe we didn't. Also, the only thing that I ever do is if you give me like a bad screenshot where it doesn't look like the trades that are on the trade show all the time, if it doesn't look like those screenshots, I eliminate it immediately. Because when I'm putting the trade up on the screen, it needs to be a clear, nice screenshot. And if it's not, I'm just going to eliminate it, even if it's a good trade. So it's very important for people to, screenshot and make sure that you submit it well with context and a good screenshot. Do you trade Ladd for Harvey? I would rather have Ladd. A-Rod says, that's fire. I've been in sales my whole professional career too. Having a sports background, sales has been the perfect to feed that competitive drive that never goes away. Yeah, man. I did quite a few things that all were sales driven. I basically I kind of the same thing as you, where everything post college for the most part was sales jobs of some sort. The most recent one was the one that was like really high ticket value items, and that one was like really cool because it's like, to think that you can move 6 figures of product in a month by yourself is crazy. And so that was like really fun to be able to do that. And the commissions that you make off of moving 6 figures in a month is legit. It's nice. But I would say, like, I didn't ever think I was going into sales. My degree, I got a degree in digital media and film production. So like content has kind of always been what I've done and wanted to do. I worked in a film studio for a little while where we would do like short films and mini movies and things like that. And that was really fun. Probably more my lane, but sales is just something that I've always been so naturally good at. So I've always done those jobs because, one, I'm good at it, I enjoy it, and you make money in sales if you're good at it. So it's kind of just been a good fit for me most of my life. MK says, what wide receiver / running back could I get for Tyler Warren? I'm thinking about running with Mason Taylor and Schultz. I wouldn't be selling Tyler Warren and running with those guys. I think for me, I would just rather have the Tyler Warren, and I would try and trade Taylor, I guess, for a running back. Like if I could move Taylor for like a Ja'Cory Croskett-Merritt in a redraft league, I would do that. And I'd probably just keep playing Tyler Warren because I think Tyler Warren's like one of the few difference makers at the tight end position. A-Rod says, I started with the Milwaukee Bucks right out of college. That's really cool, dude. It says, then restaurant sales for Grubhub, and now I'm doing sales for LinkedIn. That's awesome, man. That's really cool that you got with the Milwaukee Bucks. We have another person who's a part of this community. He's been around. You guys might have seen his face, but Jake in our community as well. I know he works in ticket sales for the Carolina Panthers, which is pretty cool as well. So lots of people, man. Lots of people, lots of connects in the community. It's cool to see all of these people who have different things that they're doing. It's just really cool. We got a cool community over here at the League FFB. But all right, folks, I think we are slowing down a little bit. So I'm going to final call on questions here. We're about 55 minutes in. We always go for about an hour, so we're right there on the dime. Final call on the questions. Hit me with them. If we don't get a lot in the next like 60 to 90 seconds, we'll wrap this thing up. Which one, John? You said that's a tough job, like ticket sales for the Panthers? MK says, appreciate it, bro. Have a good one. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for coming and hanging out. And I think we are right there at the end, folks. I'm not seeing much coming in. So, all good. Friday night, like I said at the beginning of the stream, it's my wife's birthday. So, I should probably go spend some time with my wife instead of talking to you fools. But look, man, appreciate everybody who's been in here hanging out tonight. Has been fun. I like that we were able to talk a little bit of memorabilia and some real life stuff and hang out and answer some questions. So I enjoy that, man. Keep them coming. We're going to have these questions and these streams all year round, Tuesdays, Fridays, and Sunday mornings. So keep them coming. When you have those questions, come join the live chat and come hang out. I'd appreciate it. And hit the like button for me. Hit the subscribe button for me. Go join the free Discord, like I said. And Simp, I'm going to hit you with the buzzer beater question of the nighttime. He says, full PPR, flex one, Godwin, Mason, Dowdle, or DeMercado. And I would go with Mason here. And I'm trying not to laugh at mostly. But John says, good night. Take care, bro. Appreciate you. Mostly says fantasy over the wife. You got to relax, bro. And John says, see ya. So that's it, folks. Nothing else for you. I'll see you on the next episode. Till then, peace out.